to Alien Gear Holsters YouTube Live. So today we're going to go over the various concealed carry methods that people use. So in other words, like, how, the different ways in which people conceal carry. Now, there are a few different primary types, and there are some obvious winners, the way most people do it, but then there are a few alternate methods as well. So, to go over, one way is with pocket carry. That's, a lot of people do this. It's usually with a, subcompact pistol. Back in the day, it used to be done with a snubby revolver. Today, people do it with other guns. Now, the thing about pocket carry is it has some inherent dangers. Concealment is pretty easy. If you have a small gun, it goes in the pocket pretty well. And nobody's going to be able to tell that you're carrying. But there are some inherent dangers, primarily that of a negligent or accidental discharge. Spend a few minutes on Google, look it up. You'll start seeing some reports of people who were sitting in a movie theater, started fumbling with the gun, and then all of a sudden it went off and hit some poor lady in front of them. Now that's a big danger today, especially with the modern subcompact polystriker gun, because there's a very light trigger pull. It doesn't really take a whole lot for the trigger to get snagged and go off. It wasn't so much of a problem back in the day with snubby revolvers, because then you have a long double action trigger pull, usually somewhere between 10 to 13 pounds. That takes a lot for it to go off. Today's modern subcompact polystriker gun, that's about a 5 or 6 pound pull. It's very light. Yeah, there's a tab trigger safety, but you'd be surprised at how easy it is to actually snag one of those so it goes off. If you're going to do it, make sure it's done with a pocket holster. Okay, you gotta. Otherwise, you're just taking chances. Other thing about pocket carry, it's very advantageous when you're standing. So as I'm standing here, I could get something in and out of my pocket pretty easily. But if I were to sit down, it becomes a little bit harder. Now, some people get around that by carrying a jacket pocket. That's totally fine. You can certainly do that. A lot of people do. But are you going to wear a jacket every day of the year? Probably not. Not too many climates out there where a jacket is necessary or certainly not wanted every day of the year. So it's maybe not the most feasible. But that's okay. Moving on. Oh, and also experiment with these. You're going to find one that works for you. Okay? There's going to be one that works for me. There's going to be one for works for you. One that works for this guy over here. Go out, do some experimenting, figure it out for yourself. Moving on. So, some people will also carry with a shoulder holster. Now, these are real popular in the movies. You can see Sonny Crockett on Miami Vice back in the day. Don Johnson with the white linen sleeve suit rolled up, carrying a Bren 10, and so on and so forth, and a shoulder holster, or James Bond, yada yada yada. Okay. Now they're fine. They work, but it takes some doing. For one, you have to find a good gun that's going to carry well for you. Okay, so say a relatively smaller guy may not be able to effectively conceal a larger pistol, such as this Smith & Wesson SDVE here. Just going to show you that's clear. That may be a little bit problematic. Whereas carrying a bit smaller gun, such as Springfield XDS, so you can see clear, or something even smaller, this Ruger LC9, also clear, just showing you, just to be sure. That's going to carry okay in a shoulder holster for most people. Vertical orientation, horizontal orientation, that matters as well. You can carry a big gun if it's vertically oriented. And what a lot of people like to do with a shoulder holster is get it vertically oriented and carry, say, government frame 1911. So you can see, totally clear. Slim frame actually carries pretty well on a shoulder holster. We're good. that carries pretty well in a shoulder holster, so long as it's vertically oriented. So that matters. Gun selection, orientation of the holster, or if you can even change it, that sort of thing matters if you're going to try shoulder holster carry. Another thing that matters is adjustability of the straps. Not all shoulder holsters out there actually let you adjust them so you find the right setting. And what that leads a lot of people to doing is actually having to custom order their own. There are a number of companies here in the US and also worldwide that will make you a custom shoulder holster. You know, you have to get measurements, the whole kit and caboodle. It's like getting fitted for a custom shirt or something like that. Now, there you'll get the strap length right and so on and so forth. But outside of those, a good shoulder holster should be adjustable enough so you can actually do it. And not all of them are. And also not all are necessarily made with the most comfortable materials. And that's the reason why a whole bunch of people, after they buy one, within a few months, it winds up in a drawer collecting dust. So, you can try it, but make sure that you're carrying an appropriate pistol. Make sure that you find a good holster for it. And you may have to go through a few to find it. Next, OWB carry. Now, it is possible to conceal and carry outside the waistband, but it does take a bit of doing. Got to find a good gun, or a good gun to do it with, and you have to find the right holster to do it with. Now, OWB concealment is going to lend itself a lot better to, you know, smaller, slimmer guns. Although you'd be surprised what you can cover up with the right, with the right combination of everything. So you can conceal and carry something like this Kimber Micro. I don't know if this is a micro now. Ah, yeah, it's a Kimber Micro 380. Also, just to show you that we are clear here. There we are. Clear, magazine unloaded. Now, you can conceal this outside the waistband very easy. It's a relatively slim gun. With the right holster, writing, nice and tight, it's gonna cover up fairly well. You're not gonna need a whole lot of layers in order to do it. Gun this small, you could probably cover up outside the waistband with as little as a t-shirt. Move a bit up in size, say to this XDS, or this SD9VE, or a shield here, may take a little more doing. You may have to wear, say, an untucked button-up shirt over it. A lot of people do carry that way, and so on and so forth. Although, again, these are just playing in generalities. It's going to be different for you specifically. You might find you can actually conceal a larger gun outside the waistband. You might find you can't get away with a whole lot. Again, you need to figure that out for yourself. I can't do it for you. So OWB carry, it's very comfortable. It is very, that's why a lot of people like it, but concealment does take some doing. Additionally, you need to select the right holster. It's got to ride high on the belt line so the gun doesn't stick too far down, and it's got to ride tight to the body, so that way it makes sense in your overall shape. Your clothing drapes around it, and it'll work that way. So, like a paddle holster, something like Cloak Mod, or shameless plug, our Cloak Mod here. Something like this. Paddle holsters are going to stick out a little bit off the waist, and not all of them ride exactly that high, so not necessarily always the best choice. Some are good though. Again, shameless plug. The Shapeshift Belt Slide OWB, this is actually perfect for OWB concealment. It's belt clips. They're right around the trigger guard, so it rides high, and they're out to the side of the holster so that it rides nice and tight. That's actually what we designed this thing for, in case you want to look at them. We think you should, but we would. Outside of that, another good one, ankle carry. Now, the thing about ankle carry, it's great for a backup gun, and that's traditionally what people use it for. A lot of police officers and so on. That's where the backup gun goes. Gets strapped to the ankle, on top or inside the boot, whatever. You get the idea. It's good for deep concealment. You're wearing, as long as you're not wearing, hipster jeans, nobody's going to tell that you're carrying. Okay, but it's a bit problematic because access is definitely impeded. So you're not going to be able to get to it very quickly unless you already happen to be kneeling or sitting. If you're standing, forget about it. It's going to take some doing. That said, a few things you got to know about ankle carry. You have to pick the right holster for it. It's got to give good support. Can't really travel too much while you're wearing the gun. A lot of people notice that they get an ankle holster, and then once they start walking, that darn thing starts flopping up and down. It's uncomfortable. It's not good. So you have to make sure you choose a good holster. Make sure you get one that offers a good amount of support, one that carries the gun well, and one that actually feels good to wear. Big thing about holsters, no matter what kind you get, okay? If you find you don't like wearing it, you're not gonna wear it. Even if you intend to, you're gonna find excuses. Oh, I don't like my concealed carry holster. I'm not too worried about going to the office today, and so on and so forth. And the next thing you know, you're not carrying at all. So, if you're gonna get a concealed carry gun, you're gonna get the permit. Get a good holster, so that way you can carry. Again, shameless plug. We think ours are pretty good. But that's it. The gold standard for concealed carry, as far as all the concealed carry methods are concerned, is inside the waistband carry. Now, there are two primary methods for doing so. First, you have a traditional IWB holster. You usually have a wing design, kind of like these two here. Then you have appendix carry holsters, like this guy right here. Now, as far as appendix carry, it's called appendix carry because of the position that it's supposed to go in, which traditionally is right around here, which is actually close to the appendix. Now, granted, it's close to a bunch of other organs. It could be called liver carry. It could be called, it could even be called colon carry, except that makes certain implications that a lot of people just aren't comfortable with. But anyhow, appendix carry, it goes in the front of, an appendix carry holster is meant to go in the front of the waistband. Now, the thing about that, concealment is usually pretty easy. Just drape a t-shirt over it, you're good to go. Provided you pick the right holster, it's pretty comfortable. But the thing is, you're either an appendix carry person or you're not. And you're going to figure out pretty quickly whether or not you are. To my mind, it's really best for people whose pants sit higher up on their waist. Again, you're going to have to figure this out for yourself. For me, mine ride a little lower on my hip, more close to directly on the hips rather than higher up on my waist. And people who like to appendix carry, I've noticed theirs tend to ride a little bit higher. And the reason why that matters, and it does, is when you sit down. So you're not going to take the holster off so you can, sit in your office chair or whatnot. Okay, you're going to keep it on. And if the holster rides a little bit lower when you sit down, it's going to interfere with things, and it's not going to be comfortable to still have in there while you hinge. So again, people whose pants ride a little bit higher on the waist, they're going to be okay because they're not going to notice the effects. Okay? So you're going to have to figure out, that's just my opinion. It might be different for you. Figure it out for yourself. Try an appendix carry holster or two. You might find you like it. You might find you don't. Whatever. That's all up to you. All up to you. As far as the traditional IWB is concerned, they're winged. Usually they're winged. Some are, some aren't. But the dominant design these days is a winged holster. It actually spreads the weight out pretty well. It goes usually somewhere between directly on the hip, which is referred to as the 3 o'clock position. For those who don't know, noon, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, you get to it. So usually the gun will sit somewhere between like the 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock positions. And the spread of the clips tend to spread the weight out pretty well. A good example of the holster will hug to your side fairly easily. Should be comfortable. And you can usually cover up with as little as an untucked t-shirt. That usually does it for a lot of people when it comes to regular IWB or appendix IWB holster. Like, you just need a shirt, and it covers up pretty well. Now, not without their issues, of course. The thing about IWBs, you're going to have to find a good carry position for you that conceals well. You know, for me, I move it a little bit too far in one direction or the other. You know, I print pretty bad. You're probably going to find the same thing. You start playing around with this, and you'll also find that, you know, in some positions, it's not necessarily easy to access the gun while you sit, but it is far from impossible. So it does impede access from the sitting position. From the standing position, it's easy to get at. Appendix carry, what a lot of people the people who like it tend to notice that access is easy almost no matter where it is. You know, almost no matter what. Standing, they can get at it real quick. Sitting, they can get at it real quick. So when I mentioned it's better for people whose pants right up a little bit higher on the waistline, that's the thing. Once you sit down, you can just grab it. If appendix carry happens to work for you. That doesn't really work for me all that well, but different strokes, different folks, and so on and so forth. IWB holsters tend to be a little bit more comfortable for a lot of people, but you know, hey, you're going to find what works for you. So that's really the thing about the concealed carry methods. I don't know if we have any questions from our live audience. We do.
All right, we have a question from Bill Terry, who would like to have you show us how to assemble and reassemble a mag holster.
Oh, one of our cloak mag carriers. Absolutely. I'd be delighted to do it. So, how to assemble and reassemble. So, we'll start by taking this thing down to its various components. Oh, good Lord. That's right, we build these clips tough. All right, so we'll start with the various components. Base kit comes with your magazine bucket, smaller clip, larger clip, and your IWB backer, which is similar in design to our other IWB backers, such as this on the 4.0, or sorry, Cloak Tuck 3.5 holster, or this on our 4.0 holster, part of our Shape Shift line. Shameless plug. Oh yeah, getting them in today. Anyway, so you start with your magazine bucket. So to put it together, it kind of depends on how you want to do it. If you want to put it together for outside the waistband carry, you have to actuate the clip gate, like so. Find the spot you want to insert the clip at. You line up the docking spline, the hole, you release the gate, then you activate the lock, so that way the gate doesn't move, it's solid. And here you have an outside the waistband mag carrier. This goes over your belt, and I'll tell you, I carry my spare mags with these in the OWB configuration. They're built like a brick outhouse. Very tough. These things are amazing. You also happen to have this little tool. For those who don't know, there is this little tool in here so you can adjust the retention. So we give you that little Allen wrench. It even carries inside the magazine bucket itself. It's actually a nice little feature. That said,
so the question from Bill actually was, please show how to put together the mag carriers. I had to return mine for missing parts. So could you show how you could get that tool out and put those screws back in?
Sorry, I misunderstood that. Okay, so how to put together for missing parts. So in that case, you're going to want to drop the gate down and fish out the retention adjustment tool, which is a little Allen key that we build in there. Takes a little doing because there are some little clips in there, but once you get it out, it pulls free. So to adjust the screws, you have 3 of them, 2 up top, 1 on bottom. Take the tool, you line it up, and then you either tighten or loosen the bolts as needed. Okay. Now, if you back them out all the way, the outer half will free from the inner half. There you go. If You tighten them, it clamps down pretty hard. It's really that simple. It's just these 3 screws, or 3 bolts, and the Allen key right there. It's actually really simple.
Bill says, okay, this explained a lot. I ordered 2 and I received no backing plate on both the mags.
Yeah. Oh, sorry to hear that. Contact our customer service folks. If there's something that you were supposed to receive and you didn't, let them know. They should be able to take care of you. Okay? They're pretty good. They're pretty good about those sort of things. But, you know, nothing is error-free in this world. Okay? Things do get missed by people occasionally, but we like to take care of anybody. If something like that happened, we are more than happy to make sure that they get hooked up with everything they're supposed to have. Yeah. So that's our mag carriers. Oh, get that clip out of the way. All right. So, are there any more questions from our YouTube live audience? Cool. There you go. Those are the most popular concealed carry methods. You know, if you have any comments, go ahead, feel free to leave them below, or check out our website at aliengearholsters.com. Have a great day.